Hello, we're back.
Hi, Ces. Hello, folks.
Hey. Welcome to Liminal Writing. Today we've decided to read an old work. We haven't looked at it since, so it's gonna come fresh to us again
Yeah,
and see what comes out.
I think it's part of the joys of us having this kind of process wherein we write about something and then we get to pick it up. So, a new
Yeah,
perspective or a new way of looking at who we were 12 months
yeah,
ago,
yeah.
right? Why don't you lead in, open the door, and step in for us, Ces?
Ah, scary. Okay, here we go. The trigger line was we are beings of sense making. So we are beings of sense making. Okay, here goes. Everything has to make sense. And sometimes that makes my head ache because maybe sometimes things don't have to make sense. And there is freedom in that, isn't there? But we are beings of sense making, of finding meaning and of learning and of growth. For at the end of the day, the essence of a deed or a moment is how it made sense, how it made us feel, and what it made us experience of why. But I am an overthinker. And I guess that quote unquote sense making part of me has gone on overdrive my whole life. And I am tired. My brain is tired. My being is tired. My body is tired. I guess it all got short circuited at a young age when the early morning creepy person violated my space, and that didn't make sense. So my life has been underlined by that search for sense and meaning, displaced onto other things and experiences that have more potential to give me answers. But all of them were never enough to erase the original senseless act that I can never find answers to, or at least that child of decades past couldn't fathom. It gave me the message, the belief that life will be a constant battle to make sense if I were to survive it. And here I am now, trying to unravel the thickened vines that have covered my past. I reach out to the deepest core, the hidden child, who still stares back at me, confused and lost, and hoping I can offer back some sense and hope and healing. My God, I didn't know I went that deep. I don't recall this. Okay,
Okay,
your turn.
we are beings of sense making. I would not last without purpose or meaning in life. Why go through hurricane heartaches and dizzying despair, all for it to be a drudging walk through endless darkness? I have found that I always have the choice. A couple of choices. Whatever is in front of me, whatever experience besets me or emotions engulf me, these will not savage me. In me is a metronome, rhythmically creating space for a split moment decision that in this very moment I am a gift or a lesson, a choice, a sense of steadying myself to what happens next inside of me and for my world.
Nice. So solid. I like the metronome. I think I've never been a metronome that way. It's just like
You're a symphony then.
there's lots of syncopations in my life.
Says there's one piece of imagery that you have about that, like there are thickets of things that cover it.
Thickened vines that have covered
Thicken.
vines. Because that protects you.
It's it's a powerful way to think about who you were as a kid and how you made the survival mechanism, right? So it's the inside protecting you,
But,
and probably it also gave you a different filter of life too, right?
mm,
Because that,
mm.
how could you see things, events, people only through seeing it through these things, like the pockets through
Senses.
where you could see from
And
those
then from
thickened
behind,
patches.
what feels like a sheltered space, no, that you
Yeah,
created. But it
yeah.
also can limit vision, doesn't it? Limited by that space you've allowed yourself to look through.
And if you look at nature too, those thickened things, those are very strong eh. Those vines,
They
when
are,
you
yeah,
look at them singly, parang madali lang siyang hatakin, right? Because these are
right.
like vines. People will say they're an overgrowth. But if you look at it as a whole, like an ecosystem, they're actually
Very
very
strong. Yeah.
strong.
Shelter and truly shelter you. Yeah.
Correct.
The
And
other thing is,
sometimes it's also nourishment for the other beings in that
um,
ecosystem, right? And that I guess that's how it served its
it makes
purpose
me feel
for
cozy.
your life.
When
Yeah.
you talk about it, it makes me feel cozy, and I always get attracted to that. Like in the parks here, there's greens, and then
Uh,
sometimes they have areas like that. There's like
yeah.
arch, and the
Yes.
branches meet, and it's almost like a cover. It's very
Yeah.
pretty. And then
Yeah.
there's a path below it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But the part I'm thinking about struck me again as I read it,
Mm,
was about the overthinking. I
mm.
ruminate. I have moments, days, sometimes long
Long periods.
phases where periods where I couldn't sleep or have difficulty getting sleep because my brain
Uh,
takes over and I ruminate. I like
uh,
latch onto something and I try to review it in my mind, either a past event or a future, and then it just carries on and it just takes a life of its own. It's crazy. It
uh.
drives me crazy. But when I think
Like it's
about
building scenarios in your head.
yeah, it's taking sense of control, but it's a false sense really of control because sometimes it's just is what it is, and you just have to let things unfold. You can influence directions, but sometimes you just have to wait for things to kind of take their course, right? Or you wait
Yeah.
for others to take their decisions of what you have thrown to them.
Ah. Mm,
Me, sometimes I get anxious and it just takes over. And in that case, I forget all the tools I'm given, for
mm,
example, breathing. So now I'm learning again to value breathing can do, like the vagus nerve
mm,
activation that my therapist is now trying to teach me, where you kind of inhale and hold and
mm,
have a longer exhale and focus on the breath. What came out in the writing is that when we say we are beings of sense making, in my experience, when at an early age, it just didn't make sense what happened to you. So you kind of just try to be more in control and feel less vulnerable by trying to make sense of everything.
yeah.
Taking control is understanding what this is about. And if you don't, you freak out. But yours sounded so calming for me when you were saying the metronome. Wanted my head
Yeah.
to go like this.
Yeah.
I was like really steady,
Yeah.
reliable
Mm,
kind of.
yeah.
And that's the other thing. Routine. I'm really bad with that, and I'm trying to teach myself. Never too late
Yeah.
to learn. But yeah, it's not, again, it's not intuitive to me.
You know what? Yesterday I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, Adi.
Mm-hmm.
And something you said made me connect to that conversation. So you
Mm-hmm.
said about the regularity, stability, right? And she said to me yesterday, I can see that you like your sense of order, right? In your work, you're disciplined because most of the work that you've done is from home. So there's a kind of discipline that you have to have. Sabi niya, I need the energy and the structure of being in the office. I need that. You have your sense of order, you want things in a particular way, but she said, but I know that you don't also like following rules.
Yeah.
She said, but it's kind of weird. You want to put order into things. There are certain places for
Where
things.
things should be, yeah.
But but when it comes to rules, you almost never want to be following the rules. And I laughed aloud. I said, yes,
It's
even at the
true.
simplest level of, I don't want to be matching outfits with you. This was like on a very whimsical thing, but
Really,
yeah, even when
matching
I was like
with someone else.
with someone else. Yeah.
Mm.
But when I look at parades or
But you
performance,
appreciate the colors.
yeah, and it connects to my sense of design. Like
Ah,
there's
yes.
symmetry,
Yes, symmetry and
there's
self.
sense in it,
Yes,
right?
yes,
But
yes.
for myself,
You
well,
rebel and rebel.
yeah, even if I had to do it like because I was part of a group, there was always something that I would make different with what I was wearing because I didn't want to be the same as the rest.
Interesting.
For me, that's a way of being in the world. This is who you are. You are somebody that can be relied on, somebody that
Yeah.
is good on their word. But for the other things like following orders,
No.
because already in my head, like I already know what it should look like, and I have a point of view on what it
Yeah.
should be or could be. So yeah.
But if you think about it, the metronome, yes,
Mm,
it only provides that basic rhythm, that kind of foundational rhythm, right?
mm,
Like,
mm.
but doesn't mean that the music that follows it doesn't improvise.
That's
Can go
true.
everywhere, but it's the steadiness of it.
Yeah, parang yun yung base, right? It
Mm.
provides the base
Mm.
for
Solid, yeah, the solid base for
yeah, yeah,
creativity to kind of fly everywhere. That's great.
yeah. It's also what we've been exposed to
Sure.
performers, right? Yeah.
And both of us,
You have to
that's
understand what
true.
the basics are. Then you can move out of it because you already have that foundation of what its purpose is, what it could be, how you could relay the
Yeah.
message.
Hmm. Yeah. It reminds me of yesterday's swimming
Mm,
lesson because
yeah.
I had not done training for 2 years. So I was back yesterday and it was foundational. Again, it was consistent also with what my therapist was also trying to train me to
Yeah.
have more discipline in terms of my breathing exercise.
Ah, oh,
And this one, the foundational of swimming is breathing, right?
yeah.
And taking the proper gasping out of the water and then the neutral position of the head and under the water and then breathing out.
Yeah.
We were just doing that over and over just so that it becomes instinctive again
Uh-huh.
with
Oh,
the breathing.
the power of breath, really.
What it can do, it can calm you down, it can get you
Yeah, high
anyway.
too, right? So,
It can make you function better. The position of your body, the breathing, the head, before you can actually then swim. Keep being beings of sense making,
okay.
but
Yeah.
also claim those spaces where there's freedom too in having acceptance of things that maybe they just don't make sense at this point in time.
Mm,
They may pan out later on.
yeah. And so,
To have some meaning and why it happened in your life. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense right now.
uh,
It might
yeah,
no the later time.
yeah.
So
But abuse never makes sense
oh yeah,
in any part and in any
no,
stage of your life.
no, that's why I cannot explain it to the little girl.
But Seth, as the adult now, has more tools and more ways of um,
Yes,
flourishing,
yes.
flourishing. Thank you, folks,
Thank you.
for
And
listening
thank
in. Hope you enjoyed
yes.
that one.
Till the next liminal writing. Keep
To the
writing,
next
everyone,
hop.
and keep breathing.